Yeah, kind of the sole representative of the nickel crowd here today. So I'll give you a little bit on Balmoral. Balmoral is first and foremost a Canadian-based and focused exploration company. We're TSX listed, and we're probably almost uniquely positioned to benefit both from the increased level, obviously, of interest in the Canadian gold sector, driven by the increasing gold price, and the new global scale demand stream of Class 1 nickel resulting from the introduction of electric vehicles, and as we've seen in the nickel space, the concerns that exist over nickel supply out of Southeast Asia. We're an experienced bunch of explorers. As Jay said, we've done this a few times before in our past and had considerable success doing it in the precious metal space. So the company itself is a little bit schizophrenic. It has gold, significant gold and nickel assets. It never set out to be a nickel company. It set out to be a gold company. It just happened to make a significant nickel discovery along the way, which is a very good thing for us and our shareholders. Potential and growth in Balmoral comes both through resource growth on our lead gold and lead nickel assets. Those are Martinair and Grasset. But it also, and importantly for our shareholders, has always come through the discovery phase, and we believe we're on the verge of making one in Area 52. And this is a gold project, and you should see results from that within the next 2 weeks. And we just recently announced another new nickel discovery, new nickel district that we're opening up that we call RUM. That's also sitting out in Quebec. So new discoveries on both fronts. Our portfolio is extensive, and it's pretty much equally split between the two metals, giving us some options as we roll forward with the company, both on the gold and the nickel side. So a tale of two metals. Actually, it's nickel that's outperformed here. So, well, of course, the last year, this was 2 days ago, and we all caveat that because it's moving around so fast these days. Gold was up 29% on the year. J's T-Bells were up 36% on the year. Nickel actually up 46% on the year. So it's had a phenomenal run this year. It's coming out of a bottom about 2 years ago. That's benefit to us because it's actually taken and moved both the gold and the nickel price well ahead of our current resources in the ground. So we are well ahead of our resource estimates on both projects. We play with, much like Gary does, a large land position. This is a 100-kilometer long land position in Quebec. We tie onto the land that's owned by Detour Gold on the Ontario-Quebec border. We run for 100 kilometers, so that's basically like getting in a car at UBC and driving out past Chilliwack. You still haven't left the property. We own 100% of the property, and two other properties just to the south. You can see the Grasset nickel deposit on the right-hand side of that property. That was a discovery we made in 2014, and it is a somewhat, a significant nickel asset. It is the largest high-grade nickel asset, north of 1.5% nickel, owned by a junior. Matter of fact, it's the only one in the upper right-hand part of that chart that's actually owned by a junior. Everything else is either owned by a major or a private equity firm at this point. Grasset is an open-ended nickel deposit. We can trace it down to about 500 vertical meters. It's open below that, and we'll be back in drilling on the deposit itself in January of this coming year. It sits at the southern end of a belt, an extensive belt of ultramafics that we discovered in 2014 that sit underneath a big overburden covered area on the property. It's open along strike at shallow depths. It's open to depth below that 500-meter vertical level. Has a high grade, it's about a 15.6 million ton sulphide deposit with a high grade core that at 656 nickel today is about 790, was 3.45 million tons at 1.8% nickel. It's a nickel dominant deposit, so it's very well leveraged to the nickel price. If we look at that today, if we look at the NSR calculations today, we've actually gained 30%. And because the Grasset is not just a high-grade core, it's a broad deposit, lower-grade deposit that surrounds it, we'd actually move the needle from basically 3.5 million tons up to around 6 million tons if we use current spot, which they don't allow us to do. This is not compliant. Do not believe anything I just said. But that's reality. Our current program, so Grasset is on the nickel side, Grasset is geared for drilling this January. It's in a swampy part of the property. We're going to be drilling deep holes to expand the deposits. We want the frozen tundra-like conditions we get in northern Quebec to do that work. And so that work will go on in January. Currently, We're doing the schizophrenic thing, and we're on the gold side of the business. Right now, we are literally, as of an hour ago, I actually had them text me so I could say that. As of an hour ago, the Phase 2 drill program is underway in Area 52. Area 52 is a small part of our much larger land package that sits along the Sunday Lake Deformation Zone, where it intersects a recently discovered gold-bearing system called Area 51. What's neat about this area is it's about a 7-kilometer stretch of the detour, the Sunday Lake Deformation Zone, which is what hosts Detour. That's a 20 million ounce deposit just down the road. In December of last year, the neighbor, whose name I shan't say, intersected a significant gold system on a northwest-bearing structure. Area 52 is the intersection of 2 major gold-bearing trends and has never been drill tested. So we completed 4 drill holes, a little over 2,000 meters in there, and those results should be out to you in the next 2 weeks. Phase 2 drilling is underway. So we started Phase 2 drilling without seeing the results from Phase 1, seeing the numbers from Phase 1 drilling. That should suggest to you that we like what we see. Area 52 is, as I said earlier, is the intersection of these 2 gold-bearing systems. We know from previous work about 3 or 4 kilometers away to the west that there is 20-gram gold mineralization sitting in one of these east-west trending fault systems that we are targeting. We know from our own work, 4 or 5 kilometers the other way, that there is 6 to 12-gram gold mineralization sitting in an east-west structure along the Sunday Lake system. So we're very excited to see how this develops as we move forward, but that will be the next significant piece of news coming out of Balmoral, will be the drill results. You probably won't have them. I looked in the lab just before I came in. You probably won't have them next week, but I would say hopefully early the following week, you should have those results. And like I say, Phase 2 drilling is underway. This is what it looks like on the ground out there. Flat is an understatement. Anyone from Saskatchewan would be very, very familiar with this. Huge, very low lying ground, extensive overburden cover, effectively complete overburden cover. The Sunday Lake fault system is just to the south of us here in this photo. The small phenolon deposit, which has a remnant resource currently of about 19,000 ounces and is just waiting for its next permit to mine those ounces. It's about 1,000 meters away. The new discovery, this Area 51 corridor, you can see track through. So it actually tracks onto our property both on the south and the north, and probably to the west as well, from what we see. So I think both ourselves and the neighbor are going to have a whole lot of fun out here over the course of the next few months as we both work to drill this system out. Back to the nickel side of the world. About 6 weeks ago, we announced a brand new discovery. This is a prospecting discovery, so this is actually an outcropping at surface, brand new nickel discovery in the Rum Camp. The Rum Camp is located about 200 kilometers east of Grasset. It's a series of properties that we staked last fall. We've flown them. A number of very interesting magnetic anomalies. Those are usually our gabbros, or in this case, our ultramafics, which are the host. And almost all of these have conductors associated with them. So the outcropping discovery is extremely precious metal rich. We get about 1.5 grams of platinum, palladium, and gold, along with about 0.5% nickel in the outcrop. The outcrop is not on the conductor. So the hope obviously is that conductor represents more massive sulphide mineralization. And so that project is going to see some more geophysics and some more in preparation for drilling. That's probably a 2020 drill target for the company. I don't think we'll get there quite this fall with all the rest of what we've got going on. But that's an exciting new discovery. That's one of 15 targets, the first of 15 targets that we've gone in to visit. So the guys and girls will do a little bit more work there here this fall, and you should see some additional results from this project as well. So on the nickel side, with the nickel price running, having another new nickel discovery in our back pocket's also a nice place to be. On the gold side, we have a series of projects, the most advanced of which is probably Martinair. It hosts a 640,000 ounce near surface gold resource up there on that detour trend. It's about a 2-gram open pit component to that and about 4.5 gram underground. It is open for additional expansion. I only have so many dollars. I can only do so many things at once. But it's an exciting project. We have other advanced gold projects as well in N2 and North Shore. And like I said earlier, a swath of ground tracking along a major break in the Abitibi that goes from here to Chilliwack. We've had a nice little pop in the stock. We had a resource estimate at Martinera, even though I think it's pretty decent, the market didn't love, and it punished us for it. We've had a nice little pop in the stock, and I think the stock is well poised to receive good news coming out of the Area 52 drill program and our further work on the nickel side, both at Rum and at Grasset as we move into the winter season. So thank you very much for your attention, and thank you all for staying to the end of the day to listen to the three of us.